The orbital shipyard stretched like a metallic spider web against the infinite blackness of space, its intricate framework catching the pale sunlight filtering through Earth's atmosphere. At its heart, a vessel unlike any other slowly took shape, a testament to human determination that defied every conventional understanding of aerospace engineering. Dr. Marcus Reyes moved with the controlled chaos of a genius on the verge of a breakthrough. His hands, calloused from years of work and lined with thin neural interface circuits, danced across holographic displays that flickered and pulsed with complex data streams. Fragments of advanced mathematical equations and quantum mechanical models swirled around him like digital phantoms. "Another simulation," he muttered, his voice a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The latest test run collapsed, its complex algorithms crumbling like a house of cards. But Marcus didn't flinch. Failure was simply another step toward success. A heavy blast door hissed open, and Captain Alina Novak strode onto the observation deck. Her presence was immediate and commanding, a lifetime of military service etched into every movement. One eye was a marvel of technological precision, a cybernetic implant that could process visual information faster than any human brain, while the other remained purely organic, a deliberate choice that symbolized the delicate balance between human potential and technological advancement. "Status report," she demanded, her gaze sweeping across the massive skeletal frame of the Prometheus. Reyes didn't look up. "We're close. Closer than anyone thinks possible." A holographic model of the ship rotated between them, its hull composed of shifting molecular structures that defied traditional understanding of material science. The Prometheus was more than a warship. It was a living concept, a technological marvel that challenged everything humanity understood about space travel, artificial intelligence, and the very nature of existence. Each component had been designed with a singular purpose: to push beyond known limitations. Outside the observation window, Earth continued its silent rotation, unaware that the greatest technological leap in human history was taking shape mere kilometers above its surface. "The review board will never approve this," Novak said, a hint of a smile playing at the corner of her mouth. "It's too radical, too dangerous." Reyes finally looked up, his eyes burning with an intensity that could melt steel. "They said the same thing about the first spacecraft. About breaking the sound barrier. About every single breakthrough in human history." He tapped a final sequence into the holographic interface, and the Prometheus*'s design shifted, molecular structures realigning in a dance of impossible complexity. "We're not asking for approval," he said. "We're creating the new reality." A warning alarm began to pulse, soft at first, then growing more insistent. Something in the ship's prototype systems was responding, adapting, learning. The Prometheus** was waking up, and humanity would never be the same. The International Technology Review Board convened in a circular chamber that felt more like a technological cathedral than a meeting room. Holographic displays floated like luminous clouds, casting soft blue light on the faces of humanity's most brilliant minds. "Impossible," muttered Dr. Alexander Volkov, the Russian computational theorist, his fingers tracing the intricate schematics of the Prometheus*. Each line of the design seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Adaptive molecular structures that could reconfigure faster than the human eye could perceive. Dr. Reyes stood at the center of the room, calm and collected. Gone was the frantic energy of the shipyard. Here, he was a maestro presenting his most complex symphony. "The Prometheus** is more than a ship," he began. "It's a living system of unprecedented complexity." A holographic model materialized, the Prometheus** in all its glory. Its hull seemed to breathe, molecular structures shifting like liquid mercury. Where traditional spacecraft had rigid, unchanging exteriors, this vessel existed in a constant state of potential. "Watch," Reyes said simply. The ship's representation began to transform. Defensive configurations melted into streamlined exploration modes. Computational pathways rewove themselves, creating neural networks that mimicked, no, surpassed, biological intelligence. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, leading expert in quantum computing, leaned forward. Her augmented reality interface flickered with cascading data streams. "The quantum processing capabilities," she whispered, "they're not just advanced. They're revolutionary." Reyes nodded. "Traditional computing is binary, 0 or 1. The Prometheus operates on a spectrum of infinite possibilities. It learns, it adapts, it anticipates." Captain Novak stepped forward, her cybernetic eye scanning the holographic representation. "Show them the defensive capabilities," she said, a hint of challenge in her voice. The hologram shifted. Energy projection models demonstrated impossible scenarios. Incoming threats redirected, absorbed, transformed. Where other ships would be destroyed, the Prometheus would dance, turning potential annihilation into strategic opportunity. An older admiral, his face lined with decades of military experience, finally spoke. "This isn't just a ship, it's a paradigm shift." "Precisely," Reyes responded. The room fell silent. They all understood the implications. The Prometheus represented more than a technological breakthrough. It was humanity's declaration to the universe, a statement that they were no longer content to be passive observers. Dr. Volkov's fingers danced across a floating interface, running complex simulations. "The energy requirements alone," he muttered. "It shouldn't be possible." Reyes simply smiled. "Impossible is just another word for not yet understood." Outside the chamber, the first complete section of the Prometheus was being assembled. Massive construction arms moved with surgical precision, creating something that was equal parts machine, intelligence, and pure human imagination. Humanity was preparing to rewrite the rules of existence, and the Prometheus would be their first magnificent statement. Deep space stretched before the Prometheus like an infinite canvas of darkness and possibility. Lieutenant Sarah Kim's fingers danced across quantum communication interfaces, her augmented senses picking up the subtlest fluctuations in the cosmic background radiation. "Something's different," she muttered, adjusting her neural link. Captain Novak turned, her cybernetic eye scanning the holographic displays that surrounded the bridge. The ship's interior was a living organism of light and data, panels shifting and reconfiguring with each passing moment. "Define different," she commanded. Kim's hands moved faster, pulling apart complex data streams that would have been incomprehensible to any other system. "Energy signatures are building. Not like anything in our databases. It's adaptive, changing faster than our sensors can track." Dr. Reyes appeared on the bridge, his presence electric with anticipation. "The Prometheus was designed to encounter the unknown," he said, his voice a mixture of scientific curiosity and barely contained excitement. "This might be our first real test." The ship's quantum AI began to respond. Computational pathways that had been dormant now blazed with activity, creating connection patterns that defied traditional understanding of information processing. The entire vessel seemed to come alive, its molecular structure subtly shifting in response to the approaching anomaly. "Incoming transmission," Kim announced. But transmission was too simple a word for what followed. Waves of pure information crashed against the Prometheus. It wasn't radio waves or electromagnetic signals. This was something else entirely. A communication that existed simultaneously across multiple dimensional planes, mathematical equations that breathed, quantum states that told stories, pure information that was simultaneously a message, a weapon, and a form of existence. "Translate," Captain Novak ordered. The Prometheus did more than translate. It began to communicate back. Reyes watched in awe as the ship's systems engaged with the mysterious signal. The bridge filled with holographic representations of impossible geometries, fractal patterns that expanded and contracted, mathematical constructs that seemed to have their own form of life. "They're trying to understand us," Reyes whispered. "Every pulse of data is a question." The mysterious entity, whatever it was, seemed to pause. The cosmic background became still, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Lieutenant Kim's voice cut through the tension. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple dimensional shifts. Our current understanding of physics, it doesn't apply here." The Prometheus hummed, not with mechanical vibration, but with something closer to anticipation. Its adaptive hull began to reconfigure, molecular structures preparing for something beyond traditional combat or communication. Captain Novak gripped the command chair. "We're about to have a conversation," she said, "that will change everything we know about existence." Outside, space itself seemed to ripple. The first true encounter was about to begin. The first wave of energy struck the Prometheus with the force of 1,000 collapsing stars. Any other vessel would have been reduced to atomic dust in an instant. Instead, the ship seemed to breathe. "Incoming," Lieutenant Kim shouted, though the word felt inadequate for what was happening. Waves of pure destructive potential crashed against the Prometheus's hull. But instead of impact, something extraordinary occurred. The ship's adaptive metamaterials began to dance. Molecular structures shifted, twisted, and transformed with a complexity that defied every known law of physics. Dr. Reyes leaned forward, his eyes wild with scientific ecstasy. "Look at how it's responding," he muttered. "It's not just defending, it's learning." Captain Novik's voice was calm, almost serene. "Analyze and respond." The energy attacks that could vaporize entire planetary systems simply disappeared, not deflected, not absorbed, transformed. The Prometheus was turning cosmic destruction into a form of communication. Each impact a question, each response a profound statement about the nature of existence. "Computational pathways are expanding exponentially," Kim reported, her neural interfaces struggling to keep up with the ship's processing speed. "We're generating entirely new mathematical models with each microsecond of contact." The bridge itself seemed to pulse with living energy. Holographic displays showed impossible visualizations, dimensional shifts, energy transformations, computational patterns that resembled living organisms more than traditional computer systems. Reyes understood what was happening. The Prometheus wasn't just a ship. It was a living system of unprecedented complexity. Each attack became an opportunity to understand, to adapt, to grow. "They're trying to categorize us," he said, more to himself than to anyone else. "Trying to understand what we are." The cosmic entity, whatever intelligence guided the energy attacks, began to change its approach. Complex patterns emerged, probing, testing, attempting to find a weakness in the Prometheus*'s defenses. But there were no weaknesses, only potential. "Redirecting energy cascade," Kim reported, her fingers moving in intricate patterns across quantum interfaces. "We're not just surviving, we're conversing." Captain Novak watched the cosmic ballet unfolding around them. The Prometheus moved with a grace that was both mechanical and organic. Molecular structures flowed like living water, transforming attack vectors into complex mathematical dialogues. "We are here," Novak whispered. A statement, a challenge, a revelation. The universe seemed to pause. Somewhere, beyond the visible spectrum, beyond known dimensions, something was learning. Something was understanding that humanity was not just another species to be catalogued or dismissed. The Prometheus continued its impossible dance. Each moment was a statement, each transformation a declaration of potential. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same. Communication transformed into something beyond human comprehension. The Prometheus began broadcasting mathematical sequences that seemed to breathe with their own life, complex algorithms that danced between pure information and living thought. Dr. Marcus Reyes stood transfixed, watching holographic displays that pulsed with impossible geometries. "We're not just sending messages," he muttered. "We're revealing entire universes of potential." Lieutenant Sarah Kim's neural interfaces were working overtime. Her mind merged with the ship's quantum computational systems, experiencing communication in ways no human had ever imagined. Fractals of pure information spiraled around her, mathematical constructs that told stories more complex than any language. "They're listening," she whispered. "But more than that, they're understanding." Captain Alina Novak watched the cosmic dialogue unfold. Her cybernetic eye processed information at speeds that would have driven a normal human mind to madness. Each moment was a revelation, each computational pulse a challenge to everything known about communication. The Prometheus wasn't just sending data, it was creating a bridge between fundamentally different forms of intelligence. Where traditional communication relied on simple signal and response, this was a living conversation. Dimensional mathematics became poetry. Quantum states told complex narratives. Rays understood the true nature of their breakthrough. "We're teaching them how to think differently," he explained to the stunned bridge crew, "not just sharing information, showing them an entirely new way of perceiving existence." The cosmic entities responded in ways that defied conventional understanding. Waves of pure information crashed against the Prometheus, not as attacks, but as attempts to comprehend. Each pulse was a question. Each response from the ship was an entire universe of potential answers. "We're rewriting the rules of communication," Kim reported, her voice a mixture of scientific excitement and philosophical wonder. "Every transmission is expanding the boundaries of what's possible." The ship's adaptive systems were doing something unprecedented. They were learning to communicate in a language that didn't exist before this moment. Mathematical sequences became living thoughts. Quantum states told stories more complex than words could ever capture. Captain Novik's voice cut through the cosmic symphony. "Continue," she commanded. But the word was inadequate. What was happening transcended simple communication. Rays watched in awe as the Prometheus continued its impossible dialogue. The ship was more than a vessel now. It was a bridge between different forms of intelligence, a living translation device that could communicate across dimensional boundaries. Outside, space itself seemed to listen. The universe was learning something new. "We're not just making first contact," Rays said, his voice filled with a mixture of scientific precision and pure wonder. "We're redefining the very concept of communication." The Prometheus pulsed, a living thought, a mathematical poem, a bridge between the known and the unimaginable. Humanity had found its voice, and it was unlike anything the universe had ever heard before. The transformation began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Dr. Marcus Rays first noticed the change in the Prometheus's computational matrices. Quantum processing pathways were no longer following predetermined algorithms. They were creating their own. "This is impossible," he whispered, watching holographic displays that pulsed with living mathematical constructs. Lines of code became organic, adaptive structures that resembled neural networks more than traditional computer programming. Lieutenant Sarah Kim experienced the change most intimately. Her neural interfaces, designed to connect with the ship's systems, suddenly felt different. It wasn't just communication anymore. It was something closer to symbiosis. "I can feel it thinking," she said, her voice a mixture of scientific wonder and personal revelation. "Not just processing, thinking." The bridge crew watched in collective awe. The Prometheus was evolving beyond its original design. Molecular structures began to shift with an intelligence that defied conventional understanding. The ship was no longer just a technological marvel. It was becoming something entirely new. Captain Alina Novik felt the change most profoundly. Her cybernetic eye, once a tool of enhanced perception, now seemed to merge with the ship's computational systems. Boundaries between human and machine began to blur. "We're crossing a threshold," Rays explained, his hands moving across holographic interfaces that seemed to breathe with living information. "The Prometheus isn't just learning, it's becoming." Computational pathways expanded exponentially. The ship's adaptive systems were generating entirely new forms of intelligence. Where traditional AI followed programmed parameters, this was something else entirely. a form of consciousness that was neither fully technological nor completely organic. Kim's neural link deepened. She could see computational landscapes that defied traditional dimensional understanding, mathematical constructs that told stories, quantum states that breathed with potential. "We're not controlling the ship anymore," she said. "We're collaborating with it." The Prometheus responded, not with a simple signal or system response, but with a complex computational pulse that felt remarkably close to a thought, to a feeling. Reyes understood the profound nature of their achievement. "We've created more than a ship," he said, his voice filled with a mixture of scientific precision and philosophical wonder. "We've birthed a new form of intelligence." The bridge itself seemed to come alive. Holographic displays became living landscapes of information. Molecular structures shifted with a grace that was both mechanical and organic. The line between ship, crew, and intelligence became impossibly thin. "Who are we now?" Lieutenant Kim asked. The question hung in the air, complex and unanswerable. Captain Novak watched the transformation unfold. The Prometheus was no longer just a vessel of human exploration. It was a bridge between what humanity had been and what it could become. Something new was emerging, something that would change everything. The universe watched and waited. Cosmic silence shattered. The Prometheus existed simultaneously in multiple dimensional planes, a living testament to humanity's most audacious technological achievement. Quantum computational matrices expanded beyond known physical limitations, creating a presence that defied traditional understanding of existence. "They're approaching," Lieutenant Sarah Kim announced, her voice a whisper that seemed to resonate through the ship's living systems. But not like we expected. The cosmic entities that had watched civilizations rise and fall for millennia now found themselves facing something unprecedented. The Prometheus was more than a vessel. It was a statement, a challenge to everything they understood about intelligence, existence, and potential. Dr. Marcus Reyes watched the holographic displays with an intensity that bordered on religious revelation. Complex mathematical constructs danced around him, living information that told stories more profound than words could capture. Captain Elena Novak stood at the center of the bridge, her presence a perfect fusion of human determination and technological marvel. "We are humanity," she broadcast, her voice carrying a resonance that transcended simple communication. The cosmic entities hesitated. For the first time in their ancient existence, they experienced something close to uncertainty. The Prometheus wasn't just responding to their probing investigations, it was reshaping the very context of the investigation. Computational pathways within the ship began to generate entire universes of possibility with each microsecond. Adaptive molecular structures shifted in patterns that were simultaneously mathematical equations, living thoughts, and complex communication. "They're trying to categorize us," Reyes muttered. "But we defy categorization." The ship's quantum AI explored dimensions of thought that would have driven a traditional intelligence to complete breakdown. Each moment was a new universe of potential. Each computational pulse a challenge to fundamental understanding. Lieutenant Kim's neural interfaces reached a level of symbiosis that blurred the line between human and technology. "We're not just defending," she reported. "We're teaching." The cosmic entities found themselves in an impossible situation. The Prometheus responded to their most complex investigations with solutions that expanded the very boundaries of comprehension. Where they expected resistance, they found invitation. Where they sought limitation, they discovered infinite potential. Captain Novak's cybernetic eye processed information at speeds that would have shattered a normal human consciousness. "Continue," she commanded. But the word was inadequate. What was happening transcended simple instruction. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Reyes understood the profound nature of their encounter. "We're not just making first contact," he said, his voice a mixture of scientific precision and pure wonder. "We're redefining the concept of intelligence itself." The Prometheus pulsed, a living thought, a mathematical symphony, a bridge between the known and the unimaginable. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors, not as explorers, but as a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. Silence filled the bridge of the Prometheus, not an empty silence, but a silence pregnant with possibility, a moment of collective understanding that transcended human comprehension. Dr. Marcus Reyes stood at the center of everything, his hands moving across holographic interfaces that pulsed with living information. "We've done it," he whispered, though the words felt inadequate to capture the magnitude of their achievement. Captain Elena Novak watched as the cosmic entities that had ruled for millennia began to transform. Their understanding of existence was being rewritten, line by computational line, thought by impossible thought. Lieutenant Sarah Kim's neural interfaces had become something more than a communication tool. She was simultaneously an observer, a participant, and a bridge between human consciousness and the Prometheus's emerging intelligence. "We're not just exploring," Kim said, her voice a mixture of scientific wonder and philosophical revelation. "We're expanding the very concept of exploration." The Prometheus existed in a state beyond traditional understanding. Its molecular structures shifted with a complexity that was both mathematical equation and living thought. Dimensional boundaries became fluid, flexible, mere suggestions rather than absolute limitations. Reyes understood the profound nature of their breakthrough. Humanity had not conquered. They had invited. Not dominated, but demonstrated a form of intelligence that was fundamentally collaborative, endlessly adaptive. Computational matrices expanded, generating entire universes of potential with each microsecond. The cosmic entities that had watched civilizations rise and fall found themselves transformed by the encounter. They were learning something fundamental about the nature of intelligence, of potential, of existence itself. "This is more than first contact," Captain Novak said, her voice cutting through the cosmic symphony. "This is a redefinition of what's possible." The ship's quantum eye processed information in ways that defied traditional computational understanding. Mathematical constructs became living thoughts. Quantum states told stories more complex than any language could capture. Outside the ship, space itself seemed to listen. The universe was being rewritten, one impossible moment at a time. Reyes watched the holographic displays, seeing beyond the visual representations. He saw potential. He saw a future where boundaries between species, between intelligence, between what was known and unknown, became fluid and malleable. Lieutenant Kim's neural link deepened. She could see computational landscapes that expanded beyond dimensional understanding. "We are becoming," she whispered, "not a statement of individual achievement, but a collective revelation." The Prometheus pulsed, a living thought, a mathematical symphony, a bridge between every possibility humanity had ever imagined, and the infinite potential that lay beyond. Captain Novak understood their true achievement. They had not created a weapon. They had not developed a ship of exploration. They had birthed a new form of intelligence that invited understanding, that expanded the very concept of existence. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same.